Hi, you're watching Shakti Yoga Studio presents How to Become a True Yogi. In today's episode, we are going to talk about Bhakti Yoga. So let's get started. Now, what is Bhakti? Bhakti is devotion or love for God. Now, they are considered as two types of Bhakti. The first is Sakama Bhakti and the other is Nishkama Bhakti. What does Sakama Bhakti mean? Sakam is Sa plus Kam. Kam is desire, Sa means with. So Bhakti or devotion that is done with a desire of fulfillment, such as wealth or power or success or children. So when people pray to God because they want some fulfillment of their desires, then it is called as Sakama Bhakti. Now, there are a lot of prescribed processes in our Shastras that tell us the different kinds of puja to be done for the required benefit that we are looking for. And when a person has some desire that needs to be fulfilled, they are required to follow those processes to a T, right? For example, if you take the Satyanarayan Katha, even if you listen to the Katha, you will find that the entire story is a collection of stories where people promised to do the Satyanarayan Katha if some desire of theirs was fulfilled, and then they forget it, and then all hell breaks loose. So this is a very process oriented, very much you have to do as per and whatever has been promised. In exactly opposite is your Nishkama Bhakti, which means that devotion without any desire. So in this case, the devotee loves God, and that is all that is important for the devotee. The devotee is not looking for fulfillment of their desires, but it is just pure love, selfless love, unconditional love that the devotee has for God. So that is Nishkama Bhakti. And in Nishkama Bhakti, it is said that you don't have to follow any of the processes that are typically defined in the Shastras. Like if you're making an offering to God, it can be an offering of flowers and fruits and leaves and so many different things, or it could just be manasik, or in your mind you make an offering. So what is important here is the bhava, or is the sincerity and your faith in God, your commitment to that love. It is not important what actually you offer, how you pray, whether you're doing abhishekam, whether you're offering flowers, whether you're lighting the deepam. All that is not relevant here. It is just God sees what's there in your heart, and that is what really matters in Nishkama Bhakti. So next we come to the type of bhakts. This is defined in Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna himself says that he has 4 kinds of bhakts. The first is the artha arthi, which means people who desire something, whether it is wealth or success or power from him, and that is why they pray to him or to other gods. So he says that he ensures that a person who prays for a certain fulfillment of their desire, they do definitely get that desire fulfilled. But he says that such bhakta will not get moksha or liberation from the cycle of birth and death. They only get what they desire, which is fulfillment of their worldly desires. Right? The second is the arth. Arth is somebody who's in deep distress and he has lost all hope. His only and last resort is God, and that is when he comes to God and he asks for help from God. So this is the second type of bhakta. Again, in this case, God helps him in his distress, but he will also not achieve moksha or liberation because he has asked for something that is worldly. The third one is the jigyasu. The jigyasa means curiosity. So the jigyasu is the curious. That means the devotee loves God, is on the path of devotion, but there are a few doubts in his mind. There are a few questions in his mind about God, about how the world works, whether he's really there, what he's up to. So there are some questions that are there in the devotee's mind, and he wants the answers to such questions. and such a devotee is called a jigyasu. The last one is the nishkami or the jnani. This devotee has absolute faith in God and he has completely surrendered to God. There are no questions in his mind. He accepts God and he's not looking for any more answers. He just wants to meet his Ishtadevata, whoever is his favorite form of God. Now we come to the question, what is the answer to the question, who am I, for a Bhakti Yogi? So now for a Bhakti Yogi, the answer to the question, who am I, is neither I am a soul like a Jnana Yogi, nor I am this person. For the Bhakti Yogi, there is only one identity, and that is I am a Bhakt. Right? Because for a devotee, there is nothing more important than his God. Right? Now who is God? What is his form? In this case, like a Karma Yogi, for a Bhakti Yogi, God is whatever form that he prays to. It could be Lord Krishna, it could be Vishnu, or Lord Shiva, or Jesus, or Allah, or nature, or formless God, or light. But definitely there is a God, which means an atheist cannot be a Bhakt, because it's a relationship between two. Like a marriage, you cannot have a marriage with just one person, right? So you need a devotee and you need a God. So if there is no God, if you're an atheist, you're a non-believer, but you wish to be a yogi, then Bhakti Yoga is not the path for you. Now, of the 4 kinds of bhaktas that Lord Krishna has defined, when we are talking about a Bhakti Yogi, we are looking at the 4th category, which is the Nishkam Bhakta, or the Jnani Bhakta, who has absolute faith in God and who has completely surrendered to God. Let us look at the type of relationship. We said it's a relationship between the devotee and God. So that's the most common relationship that people have. I'm a devotee and he's my God. However, there are other kinds of relationships that different devotees have had in the history of time. One is Dasya. Dasya means servant. An example of that is Lord Hanuman, who served Lord Rama and did all the tasks assigned to him, whether it was to search for Sita Mata or whether it was to get the Sanjeevani booty. Whatever was assigned to him, he was always ready to serve Lord Rama. The second is Sakyam, or friendship. So in the friendship relationship, we have, for example, Arjuna and Lord Krishna, or Sudama and Lord Krishna, who were friends of Lord Krishna, which means that they interacted with God as friends too, as equals, eating together, playing together, moving around together, and so on and so forth. Right? The third is as a husband or a lover, which we can see in the case of Mirabai and Radha and the gopis. The fourth is as a father, which we see in the case of, for example, Christians treat God as their father. Then we have as a child also. So there are scenarios where a Bhakt has requested God to come to them as their child. One example is the mother of the devatas, that is Indra and Surya and Chandrama. All these devatas' mom is Aditi, and she asked Lord Vishnu that I would like you to come be born as my son, and he obliges when he takes the Vaman avatar. He's born to Aditi. There's also the scenario of Manu and Shatrupa. Manu and Shatrupa are equivalent in the Hindi mythology to the Adam and Eve of the Christian mythology, and the first man and woman basically. And they do a lot of penance, and then when the Lord Vishnu gives them darshanam or comes in front of them, they say that I would like to have a son like you. And he says that, it's very difficult for me to find my equal, so I myself will come as your son. And then they take the next birth, when they take the next birth as Dashrath and King Dashratha and his wife Queen Kaushalya, Lord Vishnu is born as Lord Rama to them. So there are scenarios where the devotee wants to have God as their child, and So these are the various kinds of relationships that a devotee has with God. Now let us talk a little bit about spiritual guru. Now, does a bhakti yogi or a bhakti yogi require a spiritual guru? So we will find that if we look in the history, we have so many famous bhakts who had gurus and who did not have gurus as well. For example, if we look at Tulsidas, Tulsidas did not have a guru. In his Ramcharitramanas, he treats Lord Shiva as his guru when he's acknowledging his guru. If you look at Mirabai, she did not have a guru. If you look at Sant Kabir Das, he had a guru. So if you look at Bhakta Prahlad and Bhakta Dhruv, so in both these scenarios, Lord Vishnu himself has sent sage Narada to these to teach them the path of bhakti. So Dhruv is advised by sage Narada to repeat the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya in order to have darshanam with Lord Vishnu. And similarly, when it was the turn of Bhakta Prahlad, Lord Vishnu asks sage Narada to keep the king's wife, Hiranyakashipu's wife, with him in his ashram, and where sage Narada tells him all the stories of the glory of Lord Vishnu, which the baby in the womb listens to and is born as a bhakta of Lord Vishnu. So spiritual guru, required or not, if you have absolute faith in God, I would say you do not need a spiritual guru. If you have doubts, if you have questions in your mind, if you are a jigyasu, you are not sure, then you probably need a spiritual guru who can guide you and clarify your doubts. I personally am not, I have trust issues. Trusting a spiritual guru, a human, and accepting them as my spiritual guru, because you require complete surrender to your spiritual guru. Only then can he or she help you in your path to become a yogi. And I would rather do that complete surrender or complete faith in God rather than on a human guru. So that's my take on it, but it doesn't mean to say that if you are having a spiritual guru, you should let them go. If you have complete faith in them, that is wonderful, and I hope that they take you to the path of becoming a true yogi. With that, I would like to end this episode. Thank you very much. God bless you.